No magic, pure katana, and I just went hitless against Morgott. This build shouldn't work, but it does, and here's exactly why. Samurai starting class, Uchigatana, longbow, that's the entire build. No spells, no spirit ashes, no armor swapping, just what a real samurai would carry. 4 Talismans turn this from a starter class into a boss deleting machine, and 1 Ash of War does the heavy lifting. Margit, the first real test. Run straight at him, unsheath. Stop right here. Let me show you why this matters. Unsheath does 30 stance damage per hit. Most early bosses have an 80-point stance bar. That means 3 hits and they're on their knees, and the Uchi builds bleed the whole time. That's the combo. Posture into crit into bleed. 4 unsheaths, 1 bleed proc, Margit's done. Godrick. Before the fight, grab the claw talisman. Our jump attacks now hit 15% harder. Open with unsheath or a jump attack. His stance bar is 105, which is roughly 1.5 times Margit's, which was 80. But that doesn't matter. I broke it 3 times in this fight. 3 posture breaks, 1 fight. That's the build. Before this next boss, let me explain what's actually happening here, because this isn't just spamming the Ash of War. Unsheath's heavy attack has the highest stance damage of any Ash of War on a starter weapon, with the exception of Square Off on the Vagabond's sword, which does 40 stance damage per hit, compared to Unsheath's 30. But this isn't Sekiro. Stance or posture damage isn't on the screen. The game hides it, and most players never learn this mechanic. If you know the numbers, you can plan every fight around exactly how many times you will need to unsheath to break a boss's stance. Here's a good rule of thumb. Early game bosses like Margit, Godrick, the Red Wolf have between 80 to say 105 stance. Mid-game like Radahn and Godfrey go way up, with Radahn having the highest in the game at 200, Godfrey having around 120. Other bosses like Maliketh and Morgott actually have a low stance at 80. And while you're breaking posture, the Uchi's passive bleed is ticking, 45 base buildup per hit. Most bosses proc bleed the first time at 300. That's roughly 6 hits to proc bleed. You're already hitting them 6 times going for the posture break, and they stack together. There is one boss where this falls apart. I'll show you how to handle it at the end. Godfrey, Golden Shade version. We're going to utilize the Claw Talisman here. Jump attack or unsheath, jump, unsheath. His posture bar will evaporate. Not doing anything fancy here. The Talisman stacks plus unsheath is doing all the work. We break his stance with the jump attacks, which do 20 stance damage per light attack. Radahn, highest posture in the game at 200, so it's a longer fight. That would take me 7 unsheaths before his posture breaks. But we also need to utilize our axe and claw talismans with light jump attacks and charged heavy attacks where we can. The strategy doesn't really change, it just takes more patience. I want you to notice what finally broke him, a simple light attack. Bleed was stacked, posture was cracked. 1 light attack is what broke Radahn's back. And when the build is working right, everything converges just like that. Maliketh, probably the hardest boss for this build, not because of his damage, but because of his hitbox. You have to be glued to his side for any attacks to land, especially unsheath. Our phase 1 strategy, stay on one of his hips, unsheath only after a ground slam, any other attack, and he will jump out of it and hit you. Phase 2 is much easier. Simply just stay under his legs, he can't track you there, most of his attacks will go straight over your head and whiff completely. Godfrey again, but this time it's the real deal. Phase 1 is the same as his Golden Shade. Bait the foot stomp and land a jump attack if you can, or you can simply just dodge to the left or right and hit unsheath. Now phase 2, Hoarah Loux. Different story. This is the one boss where unsheath stops working for the most part. He's just too fast, his attacks are too quick, and you can't charge it in time. So we're just going to switch. Light attacks only, stay close, roll into him, not away. The winged sword insignia ramps up our damage with every consecutive hit anyway. Morgott. And this is the moment. I open with Mighty Shot, 2 arrows before he even reaches me. Dodge, unsheath. Dodge, unsheath. Unsheath. Posture break, hit the bleed proc, and he's at half health before we even know what's really happening. And just like that, Morgott's down. And if you didn't notice, I just went hitless against a story boss for the first time in my life. No magic, no summons, just a katana and the numbers. We're doing a realistic knight build next, broken down into episodes. Subscribe if you want to see it. I'm the Mackinite. See you then.